Welcome to the Literally First Class podcast, where I will teach you how to overcome anxiety and achieve somatic success. I'm your host, Keri Ford. I'm a somatic success and holistic life coach here to bring humor, insight, and wisdom to the modern day woman that wants to feel alive in her daily life. You ready? Come on, I saved you a seat in first class. 2021 expanded me. 2022 broke me. 2023 grew me. And 2024, well, it's going to refine me. It's going to heal me. I have so many awesome goals this year. I'm not a huge proponent of New Year's goals because most people, and this is actually a fact, fall off of their New Year's resolutions. Like, I think it's less than 6 weeks in. I used to know this stat. And maybe it's evolved or changed since I even knew it. But the point is, most people don't keep their New Year's resolutions. And I want to set you up to win. I want you to set goals, intentions, and have a word of the year maybe that you can actually stick to. And so meditate on that word. Figure out what that one thing is that feels doable but stretchy. And that's how I always find my word or my intention if I set one at all. I don't think last year I had a word or a goal necessarily, but last year was a hard year in some ways that challenged me. I had a lot of firsts, I had a lot of successes, I hit a lot of upper level limits, but because I know this work and I had been really, preparing for this. I feel like 2022 was the training ground for 2023. I just continued to affirm to myself that, yes, God, more please. And whatever the challenge was, even if it was things that were really good things and my body didn't feel safe or it felt like, when's the other shoe going to drop? I just kept affirming that to myself. So this year, though, I did have a word come to me and I'm like, interesting, this is an interesting word for me, and the word is discipline. And the reason this is an interesting word is because I am a recovering perfectionist, like so many of you hyper achievers, high performers that listen to this show. Hard work is not the issue. It never has been. Motivation, I've never really struggled with. Sure, there have been moments where I've been disenchanted and uninspired in my life, of course, but I really have a hard time not being motivated, not being driven, and not working hard, right? That's never been a thing. And so my relationship with discipline has been interesting. It has been borderline masochistic. It has been, never enough. I never knew, I couldn't take the temperature of my inner thermostat well to know when I was at max capacity, when I was at 100%, when enough was enough, when what the difference was between it's finished and I'm settling, like at good enough. How do I know that? How do I discern that within my body? So I've spent the last several years healing and unwinding and unlearning a lot of the perfectionist tendencies that have kept me from authentic expansion, and they've kept me from deeper truth. And so the way I did this was first learning how to surrender, and then knowing peace, letting go of control. And then in 2022, I had some really not so great things happen in business, and that was a huge learning lesson for me. But it led to this beautiful deconstruction of what it means to be unmade and to become from the unbecoming. And I stripped away alcohol and makeup, and that was really cool. And this year feels kind of like this return home. It's kind of like the movie Meet Joe Black, where at the end he comes over the hill and he goes, you wouldn't believe me if I told you, but it feels like I've been gone a while, but I'm back. Somehow I'm back. And that's how this year feels. It feels like a return to discipline, but it's different than it's ever been before. I'm ready to get in the best shape of my life through the brand partner I've talked about, Synergenics, who's helping me with peptide therapy and their nutraceuticals. They've got a whole supplement line. You guys could actually book a call. There's an ad on here on the podcast, but also you can book a call in the show notes. that is like next level healthcare. I'm so excited about that. And I turned 40 in July. So I'm excited to commit and to verbalize that I'm going to get in the best shape of my life by 40. I didn't want to declare that before because my relationship with discipline was still a bit skewed. It was too hard, too driven. The bar is too high, almost so that I could never achieve the thing I set out to achieve. So discipline to me this time, in this iteration and season of my life, after all the healing and things I have gone through, is really about, it's really about returning to me. And discipline, like Jocko, there's a quote, Jocko says, discipline equals freedom. Really understanding that the discipline to do the hard things, not through force, but through momentum, is freedom.
This episode is presented by Journey to Financial Freedom.
Ladies in leadership, take note. Are financial obstacles dimming your sparkle? It's time to heal your money story, because a true visionary can't fully soar when they're weighed down by financial uncertainty. Say hello to Journey to Financial Freedom. JFF isn't just about spreadsheets and dollar signs. They cater to women just like us, the trailblazers, the game changers, the women who are destined for greatness. It's why I signed up with them. They help make financial intricacies clear so you can stay focused on your vision. They merge smart financial strategies with an intuitive emotional understanding, reshaping exactly how you see your wealth and your worth. They recognize that our financial narratives run deep, and when they don't align with our ambitions, they simply become barriers. JFF is offering listeners a free strategy call using the link in the show notes below, so make sure you schedule that today. And I want to talk about the difference between force and momentum. So before, I would work out even if I was sick, right? Years ago, when I had disordered eating and I was competing in fitness competitions, for example, I would, say, here's the bar and I'm going to raise it on myself. It was like I was constantly pushing the finish line out on myself. It was constantly never enough. And it was from this motivation of from fear, not from intrinsic inspiration, creativity, flow, and momentum. Momentum, my experience and the way that I have healed this within myself, is when it's inevitable that it bubbles out of you. It's like when I lay in bed and I actually think about these podcasts, it's just the words just come. Or when I wake up in the morning and I start writing and the words just come onto the page, they just fall out of me. They bubble up within me. They rise. It's like inevitable. I can't not write it. I can't not speak this episode. I can't not create it. And that's like obviously the dance and the frustration of being an artist too. But that for me is momentum versus, no plan B. I'll outwork everybody and everything. And I'll, you tell me give 100%, I'll give 125%. It was like almost militant. And it required me to abandon and betray myself. I was often on the brink of getting sick. The minute I slowed down, I did. And I don't desire that level of busyness in my life anymore. I desire fullness of, the momentum and the wave that I can ride, because my nervous system can handle that, but it's from creation and inspiration instead of force, improving and, working hard just to work hard while I white knuckle everything. So discipline this time around, it just has a different meaning. Have you ever had a word like that? I'm curious if you've had a word that, it used to mean one thing for you and now it means something totally different because of the healing that you have done around it, or the way you've reframed it and really explored that in your life and how it comes to fruition or shows up in behaviors. So discipline is the word. And refinement, that's another word that keeps showing up in between my ears as I think about it. Refinement of coming back to things that are innately true about me. And I want to explain what that means. And I'm finding the words as I say this. But, in 2022, like I talked about, I gave up makeup, I gave up alcohol for a brief period of time, things that were social lubrications, if you will, things that potentially could be postures to assume rather than an authentic expression of being. And you kind of come full circle when you are willing to heal all of those things. And maybe you come back to wearing makeup again like I did, or maybe you come back to expressing in a certain way. And I think there is a quote, Jake always says it, and I don't know who it's by, but it goes something like this. You will return there again, but you will know it for the first time. So that's really what happened with this whole makeup thing. So discipline for me also means getting dressed this year. Again, I don't know about you, but after COVID, so many of us were able to work from home, and athleisure was like a huge thing. Everybody was like, yay, I could just wear my Lulu stretch pants and I could just sit at home and never get dressed again, or I'll get dressed from the top up only. And there were so many days I still did that, even recording this podcast. And I over Christmas, I started to get dressed every day. And I thought, gosh, this feels good to do this again. So that's another discipline thing that, it's not necessary to get dressed. Some days it feels like, gosh, is this too much? Or is this, why get dressed just to be at home? But it feels good to get dressed. And again, it feels like this returning home back to my authentic expression and how I actually really love showing up in the world just for me, like unaware of an audience, unaware of other people's perceptions and feelings and a posturing. It's just, that's what feels good. And so I've got this pink blazer on, and it's like this blush pink with a black turtleneck and one of my favorite necklaces I got in New York. It's kind of like a medallion, dangly silver thing. I love it. It's like my favorite necklace. But it feels good. And back, gosh, it must have been 5 years ago now, I worked in corporate as a consultant, and I used to wear pencil skirts and present in meetings of 80 to 100 people on any given week. And I would wake up, 6 o'clock, get dressed. And then at lunch or after work, I would go work out. And I'm missing some of that structure, and I'm craving it. And I also know that in order to have more freedom, that I need to be more disciplined. So it comes back to really scheduling in workouts. I didn't realize how far gone I had become from all of those things. Again, during COVID, I had COVID before we knew COVID was here. I'm pretty certain. We didn't even have tests, so I don't know 100%. What I can tell you is it was like the flu on crack. I remember one night taking 6 Epsom salt baths because my body ached so badly. This was in February of 2020. And I had this unexplainably high fever. The fever lasted for days. I went to urgent care 2 or 3 times because I felt like I couldn't breathe. It was just a very bizarre, it felt like a respiratory flu blending hybrid thing. And so looking back, I think I had COVID. I also lost 10 pounds. I had zero energy and I was extremely weak for a long period of time. Well, that in combination with all of the gyms and everything in the world shutting down, I really got thrown off of my gym routine. And in many ways, I never found my way back, because then later that year, Jake and I started dating long distance, and I have my kids 50% of the time. So we were seeing each other on the pockets of time I didn't have the kids. So either I was going to LA and I would go pretty much the whole week, or he would come out here. And we were just in our honeymoon phase, we were like falling in love and traveling the world and doing all these amazing things. So whether we were meeting in Mexico or Nashville or Charleston, or meeting each other in our respective cities at the time, we weren't really home or present much with all of our regular routine. So that didn't help. And then the past couple of years, I had chronic migraines and neck pain to the point where I couldn't ignore it anymore. And I had to get my implants looked at, and I had a breast explant surgery in October, as you know. So it's been a journey, y'all, and I'm ready to reclaim my health. I'm ready to get in, the best shape of my life. I'm ready to have discipline and structure in my life that will only lend itself to more freedom.
This episode is presented by Cenegenics.
I recently partnered with the leader in the performance health age management industry, Cenegenics. Today's healthcare system is made to treat people with health problems, not prevent them. And that is where Cenegenics comes in. They are the world's best age management health solution, fueled by sophisticated data, advanced technology like the Brainwavy and the DEXA scan I mentioned, and metabolic science. This is for busy women at the peak of their career who also want to achieve peak performance, both cognitively and physically, using a physician-led program that is completely custom to your history, biomarkers, and needs. They've helped more than 49,000 executives, just like me and you, elevate health, reduce stress, and optimize body composition. So we not only look good, but we feel good at any age and any level of leadership. As a brand partner, Cenegenics is offering listeners a free 10-minute consultation to see if the Performance Health program is your next step in elite health. Use my link below in the show notes to book. And I'm curious, even as I say the word discipline, what word shows up for you? Is it a pleasant or unpleasant feeling in your body? Do you have positive or negative associations with that word? What's your relationship with discipline? And beyond that, what is your word? What is your intention for this year? We shared it recently on our Academy call, my group program, which actually is going to be opening for enrollment. So stay tuned for that very soon here. But on the Academy call, we talked about all of our different words, and they were very compassionate, expansive words. I would encourage you to not make it so specific that it feels like it's trapping you, but also not so general that it's unclear what direction you're headed or how you're going to cultivate that intention or energy throughout the year. So if you don't have your word or your intention yet this year, I'd encourage you to have one. I would. I think it's nice to have a North Star and a direction that is like a sandbox. And I use this with clients who talk about the sandbox structure to things, which is that there are edges to the sandbox, but what you do inside it is you can play with whatever toy you want. You can, build things. It can be as big as you want, but there's some edges, and then there's lots of space to play and explore in between. And there's something very loosely structured about that that's beautiful and explorative and curious. And I like having the direction. But you also might be in a place where that word or that intention having anything set, you're just like, hashtag I'm over it. Like, I don't fucking want a word. I don't want an intention. I get too attached to things. I get too specific with things. And this year I just want to show up in the year. That's also okay. Maybe that's where you're at right now. So yeah, 2021, the year that expanded me. 2022, the year that broke me. 2023, the year that grew me. And 2024, the year that will refine me, that will heal me, that will discipline me. I'm so excited for this year. Yeah, we have a lot of things in the works. So speaking of upcoming things, by the time you are listening to this, we're going to be in the 5-day nervous system reset, which is a $7 5-day experience that I'm offering of somatic practices and exercises as we launch into our most grounded, calm, cool, and collected year ever. And we're also opening up enrollment again for the Academy. As you know, the Somatic Success Academy we closed it in the fall, and I wanted to refine it. I wanted to restructure it a little bit and really change the enrollment process. But we've actually rebranded the entire fucking thing. Y'all, saddle the fuck up. This thing is going to be the best group program you have ever been in. And it is specifically for female leaders. There's so much goodness I want to share with you. You're just going to have to wait to see the revamped website, landing page, and all of the goodness that's going to be coming from that. But enrollment will be opening. It will be a 12-month cycle of coaching, which is incredible, honestly, for the investment that we're offering. And I'm just so excited to pour a lot of focus and energy into that. Also, we have a couple other offerings that we have been, throwing back and forth behind the scenes with my team. So keep an eye on the website, set your notifications for our Instagram, which is I am Keri Ford, and check out the Facebook group that we have. That's also in the show notes here. It's the Somatic Success Society. So I often will announce things first to my VIP inner circle people, which is email list and in the Facebook group. And then we open things up to everybody else, stories, Instagram, all that. So anyway, I'm so excited. We have a lot of new things, a lot of refinement coming your way. Let's make it a great year. Let's make it an absolutely epic, magical year where you're done playing small, you're not giving up on your dreams, and you're not quitting before you tap into your absolute max potential. All right, I'll see you on the next episode. Keep it first class.
I hope you enjoyed your flight, and I'll see you on board again soon.
Seriously, though, thanks for listening. If you're ready to take this work deeper and upgrade your mind, I want to invite you to join us inside my Millionaire Mindset program. This is where you'll start using my guided meditations to help you overcome anxiety and experience even more abundance. When you join, you'll have access to my entire audio library. Head over to elevatewithkeri.com and we'll see you inside.